You have been used. Perhaps you feel it now, that hollow ache of having given more than you received, of having trusted those who took advantage, of having opened doors that should have remained closed. The user does not announce himself. He comes as a friend, a lover, a colleague, a supplicant. He comes with need and leaves with your resources, your time, your peace. This ends now. The first law of fortification is the law of the unread intent. You have been used because you could not read what hid behind smiles. You saw the mask and called it a face. You heard the words and called them truth. The user always reveals himself, not in what he says, but in what he does not say, in the pattern of his taking, in the way his need always finds your generosity. Learn to read what is not written. The second law is the law of the withheld resource. You have been used because you were too available. Your time, your energy, your resources were always there, always offered, always accessible. Availability invites consumption. The user does not value what is always available. He values only what he must work for, wait for, earn. Withhold yourself, and you become valuable. Withhold your resources, and they become precious. The user, faced with scarcity, either reveals his true nature or moves on to easier prey. The third law is the law of the unanswered call. You have been used because you always responded. Every call, every message, every demand found you ready. The user learned that you were reliable, predictable, controllable. The unanswered call breaks this pattern. When you do not respond, the user must wait, must wonder, must face the possibility that you are no longer his instrument. Some calls should never be answered. Some voices should never be heard. The fourth law is the law of the measured gift. You have been used because you gave too much, too freely, too often. The user learned that your generosity had no limits, that your giving had no boundaries. The measured gift changes everything. Give, but give less than you can. Give, but give after they have given. Give, but give in a way that reminds them that your resources are finite, your generosity is chosen, your gifts are not their right. The fifth law is the law of the visible boundary. You have been used because your boundaries were invisible. The user could not see where you ended and he began, could not sense the line he should not cross. Make your boundaries visible. Let them be seen, known, understood. A visible boundary does not need to be enforced because it is seen before it is crossed. Those who cross visible boundaries do so knowingly, and their crossing tells you everything you need to know about them. The sixth law is the law of the unearned absence. You have been used because you were always present. Your presence became expected, assumed, taken for granted. The user never had to wonder where you were, what you were doing, whether you would come. Absence disrupts expectation. When you are not there, the user must face your absence, must wonder, must perhaps realize what your presence meant. The unearned absence is not punishment, it is education. It teaches you that you are not an appliance to be used, but a person to be valued. The seventh law is the law of the unexplained refusal. You have been used because you always explained your refusals. You justified, apologized, defended your no. The user learned that your no was negotiable, that explanation invited debate, that justification invited challenge. The unexplained refusal changes everything. No is a complete sentence. No requires no explanation. No is not the beginning of negotiation. It is the end of discussion. When you refuse without explanation, the user has nothing to argue with, nothing to challenge, nothing to overcome. The 8th law is the law of the unmatched contribution. You have been used because you gave more than you received. The user learned that your contributions exceeded his, that you would carry the weight, that you would fill the gaps. The unmatched contribution is an invitation to further taking. Match your contribution to theirs. Give no more than they give. Invest no more than they invest. When the contribution is matched, the relationship becomes balanced, and balance is the enemy of use. The 9th law is the law of the unrewarded demand. You have been used because you rewarded demanding behavior. When someone demanded, you gave. When someone insisted, you yielded. The user learned that demand worked, that pressure produced results, that insistence was effective. The unrewarded demand changes everything. When they demand, you do nothing. When they insist, you remain still. When they pressure, you wait. The demand that produces nothing is a demand that will not be repeated. The 10th law is the law of the unread apology. You have been used because you accepted apologies too easily. The user learned that a few words could erase any offense, that tears could wash away any injury, that regret could replace reform. The unread apology changes everything. When they apologize, you watch, not their words, but their actions. Do they change? Do they stop? Do they become different? If not, the apology is not read, not accepted, not effective. Apology without change is manipulation. The 11th law is the law of the unobserved helper. You have been used because your help was visible. The user saw you coming, saw you giving, saw you serving. Visibility invited expectation. The unobserved helper gives without being seen, helps without being known, serves without being watched. When your help is invisible, it cannot be expected, cannot be demanded, cannot be taken for granted. The user cannot use what he cannot see. The 12th law is the law of the unrepeated pattern. You have been used because you repeated the patterns that allowed it. The same situations, the same people, the same outcomes, over and over, you hoped for change while doing nothing different. The unrepeated pattern breaks the cycle. When you recognize a pattern that leads to your use, you do not repeat it. You change the script. You become unpredictable. The user who relies on your patterns cannot function when those patterns disappear. The 13th law is the law of the unfed expectation. You have been used because you fed their expectations. Each time you gave, you taught them to expect more. Each time you helped, you taught them to ask again. Expectations grow on the food you provide. The unfed expectation starves. When you stop feeding what they expect, the expectation dies, not quickly, not easily, but inevitably. They will be angry, confused, disappointed. Let them be. Their anger is the death rattle of their expectation. The 14th law is the law of the unspoken value. You have been used because you did not know your own worth. You gave yourself cheaply, sold yourself at a discount, offered your resources as if they cost nothing. The user took what you offered at the price you set. The unspoken value is the value you do not claim. The prince knows his worth and ensures it is known, not through boasting, but through the way he carries himself, the way he withholds, the way he requires others to earn what they receive. Your value is what others must pay to have you in their lives. The 15th law is the law of the unbroken chain. You have been used because you were isolated. The user targets those without support, without allies, without witnesses. A single tree falls easily. A forest stands for centuries. Build your chain. Connect with those who value you, who support you, who will witness your treatment. The user who must face a chain will think twice before reaching for you. The unbroken chain is your protection, your witness, your strength. The 16th law is the law of the unmarked trail. You have been used because your patterns were visible. The user learned your habits, your routines, your predictable responses. He knew where you would be, when you would be there, how you would react. The unmarked trail confuses the tracker. Vary your patterns, change your routines, become unpredictable. The user who cannot predict cannot plan, and the user who cannot plan cannot use. The 17th law is the law of the unread flattery. You have been used because you loved praise. The user learned that sweet words opened your gates, that compliments softened your defenses, that flattery made you vulnerable. The unread flattery changes everything. When they praise you, you look for the hook. When they compliment you, you ask what they want. When they speak sweetly, you remember that sugar hides poison. Flattery is not love, it is strategy, and you will read it as such. The 18th law is the law of the unforced departure. You have been used because you could not leave. You stayed in relationships that drained you, in situations that depleted you, with people who consumed you. The user counted on your staying. The unforced departure changes everything. When you leave, you take away his supply. You become unavailable, unreachable, gone. The user cannot use what he cannot reach. Leaving is not failure, it is strategy. Some situations cannot be fixed, they can only be left. The 19th law is the law of the unshared burden. You have been used because you carried burdens that were not yours. You lifted what others should have carried, solved what others should have solved, bore what others should have borne. The unshared burden returns to its owner. When you stop carrying what is not yours, the owner must either carry it himself or let it fall. Either way, you are free. Their burden is theirs, not yours. Let them carry it. The 20th law is the law of the unfinished business. You have been used because you finished everything. Every task, every favor, every commitment, immediately, completely, perfectly. Completion creates expectation. The user learned that you would always deliver, always finish, always complete. The unfinished business changes everything. Sometimes you leave things undone. Sometimes you delay. Sometimes you simply stop. The unfinished business reminds others that your effort is not guaranteed, that your help is not automatic, that your completion is a gift, not an obligation. The 21st law is the law of the unread intent. You have been used because you trusted words over patterns. You believed what they said, not what they did. The user always reveals himself in his patterns, not in his promises, not in his apologies, not in his explanations. Read the pattern. Does he take more than he gives? Does he appear only when he needs something? Does he disappear when you need him? The pattern never lies. Trust the pattern, not the words. The 22nd law is the law of the unforced respect. You have been used because you did not demand respect. You begged for it, worked for it, hoped for it. Respect that must be begged is not respect. The prince does not seek respect. He lives in such a way that respect comes naturally, or it does not come at all. He does not explain himself to those who disrespect him. He does not justify himself to those who doubt him. He simply removes himself from their presence. The unforced respect of the few is worth more than the forced respect of the many. You have now received the 22 laws of fortification. The user will not stop. He will test your walls, probe your boundaries, seek your old weaknesses.
Your task is not to make him stop. Your task is to become unworthy of his effort. When using you costs more than it yields, he will move on. When your walls are high and your gates are few, he will seek easier prey. This is not cruelty, it is survival. The world is full of those who would take what you have and leave you empty. Let them find others. Let them use each other. You have better things to do with your life than serve as fuel for those who will never thank you. The user will always exist. The question is whether you will continue to be his victim. Choose now. Build your walls, guard your gates, become unusable.
You have learned to build walls, but walls alone are not enough. The user is patient. He will wait at your gates, probe for weaknesses, test for forgotten doors. He will return as a friend, as a victim, as one who has changed. The first part of this teaching gave you the tools of defense. Now we go deeper into the art of making yourself so costly to use that no user will attempt it. Not because your walls are high, but because the price of entry exceeds anything they are willing to pay. The 23rd law is the law of the costly access. You have been used because access to you was free. No toll, no price, no barrier to entry. The user walked in as if you were public ground. Now you will charge for access, not in coin, in respect, in reciprocity, in demonstrated worth. Before they can take from you, they must give. Before they can ask, they must prove themselves worthy of asking. Costly access transforms users into supplicants, and supplicants either pay the price or reveal themselves as unworthy of your attention. The 24th law is the law of the unread performance. You have been used because you watched their performance and called it truth. The user is an actor. He plays the victim, the friend, the lover, the helpless one. He performs need, and you responded. The unread performance is the performance you do not watch. When they perform, you look away. When they act, you do not applaud. The actor who plays to an empty house eventually leaves the stage. The 25th law is the law of the unrecorded debt. You have been used because you kept mental ledgers of what others owed you, but you never presented the bill. You expected them to remember, to calculate, to repay, but they did not, because you never asked. The unrecorded debt is not a debt. It is a gift you gave without consent. Now you will record. Write down what is owed, not for revenge, but for clarity. When they see the ledger, they see the truth of the relationship. Some will pay, some will flee. Both outcomes serve you. The 26th law is the law of the unanswered question. You have been used because you answered every question. They asked, and you told. They inquired, and you revealed. The unanswered question changes everything. When they ask what you have, you say nothing. When they ask where you go, you smile and change the subject. When they ask why you have changed, you remain silent. The unanswered question is a wall they cannot climb. It protects your interior, your resources, yourself. The 27th law is the law of the unseen effort. You have been used because your efforts were visible. They saw you work, saw you struggle, saw you give. Visibility created expectation. The unseen effort changes everything. Now you work in darkness, you build in secret, you prepare where no one watches. When your efforts are invisible, they cannot be expected,
cannot be demanded, cannot be taken for granted. The user cannot use what he cannot see. The 28th law is the law of the unrequested presence. You have been used because you were always there. Your presence was assumed, expected, taken for granted. The unrequested presence changes everything. Now you come and go as you choose, not as they wish. You are present when you want to be, absent when you do not. Your presence becomes a gift, not a given. Those who want you must request you, must welcome you, must value you, or you will not be there. The 30th law is the law of the unfinished task. You have been used because you finished everything. Every task, every favor, every commitment, completed immediately, perfectly, reliably. Completion created expectation. The unfinished task changes everything. Sometimes you leave things undone. Sometimes you delay. Sometimes you simply stop. The unfinished task reminds others that your effort is not guaranteed, that your help is not automatic, that your completion is a gift, not an obligation. The 30th law is the law of the unread history. You have been used because you forgot. You forgot what they did before. You forgot the patterns, the betrayals, the takings. Each time you treated them as new, as different, as changed. The unread history is the history you do not learn from. Now you will read, you will remember, you will keep a record not of debts, but of patterns. When they approach again, you will consult the history. Those who have taken before will take again. Those who have used before will use again. History is the most reliable prophet.
The 31st law is the law of the unshared weakness. You have been used because you shared your weaknesses. You told them where you were vulnerable, what you feared, what you needed. They used this information to manipulate you. The unshared weakness changes everything. Now you keep your vulnerabilities to yourself. You show strength even when you feel weak. You reveal nothing that could be used against you. The user who does not know your weaknesses cannot exploit them. The 32nd law is the law of the unaccepted guilt. You have been used because you accepted guilt that was not yours. They made you feel responsible for their feelings, their problems, their lives. You carried guilt that should have been theirs. The unaccepted guilt changes everything. When they try to make you feel guilty, you examine the guilt. Is it yours? Did you cause it? Do you owe it? If not, you set it down. Their guilt is theirs, not yours. Let them carry it. The 33rd law is the law of the unread flattery. You have been used because you loved praise. The user learned that sweet words opened your gates, that compliments softened your defenses, that flattery made you vulnerable. The unread flattery changes everything. When they praise you, you look for the hook. When they compliment you, you ask what they want. When they speak sweetly, you remember that sugar hides poison. Flattery is not love, it is strategy, and you will read it as such. The 34th law is the law of the unforced departure. You have been used because you could not leave. You stayed in relationships that drained you, in situations that depleted you, with people who consumed you. The user counted on your staying. The unforced departure changes everything. When you leave, you take away his supply. You become unavailable, unreachable, gone.
The user cannot use what he cannot reach. Leaving is not failure, it is strategy. Some situations cannot be fixed, they can only be left. The 35th law is the law of the unshared burden. You have been used because you carried burdens that were not yours. You lifted what others should have carried, solved what others should have solved, bore what others should have borne. The unshared burden returns to its owner. When you stop carrying what is not yours, the owner must either carry it himself or let it fall. Either way, you are free. Their guilt is theirs, not yours. Let them carry it. The 36th law is the law of the unread promise. You have been used because you believed promises. They promised to change, to repay, to return, to be different, and you waited. The unread promise changes everything. Now you read promises as what they are, words, nothing more. You wait for action, not words of action. You watch for change, not promises of change. The promise without action is a lie, and you will treat it as such. The 37th law is the law of the unread intent. You have been used because you trusted words over patterns. You believed what they said, not what they did. The user always reveals himself in his patterns, not in his promises, not in his apologies, not in his explanations. Read the pattern. Does he take more than he gives? Does he appear only when he needs something? Does he disappear when you need him? The pattern never lies. Trust the pattern, not the words. The 38th law is the law of the unanswered demand. You have been used because you responded to demands. They demanded and you complied. They insisted and you yielded. The unanswered demand changes everything. When they demand, you do nothing. When they insist, you remain still. When they pressure, you wait. The demand that produces nothing is a demand that will not be repeated. The 39th law is the law of the unseen value. You have been used because you did not know your own worth. You gave yourself cheaply, sold yourself at a discount, offered your resources as if they cost nothing. The user took what you offered at the price you set. The unseen value is the value you do not claim. Now you will know your worth and ensure it is known, not through boasting, but through the way you carry yourself, the way you withhold, the way you require others to earn what they receive. Your value is what others must pay to have you in their lives. The 40th law is the unfinished transformation. You will never be finished becoming unusable. The user evolves, adapts, finds new ways. You must do the same. There is no final destination, no point at which you can stop and say, I am safe. The prince is always becoming, always learning, always growing. Those who think they have arrived have already begun to decline. The unfinished transformation is the only transformation that matters. The constant work of becoming more than you were. The endless journey toward a self that is always just ahead. You have now received the full 40 laws of fortification. The user will not stop trying. He will test your walls, probe your boundaries, seek your old weaknesses. Your task is not to make him stop. Your task is to become unworthy of his effort. When using you costs more than it yields, he will move on. When your walls are high and your gates are few, he will seek easier prey. This is not cruelty, it is survival.
The world is full of those who would take what you have and leave you empty. Let them find others. Let them use each other. You have better things to do with your life than serve as fuel for those who will never thank you. The user will always exist. The question is whether you will continue to be his victim. Choose now. Build your walls. Guard your gates. Become unusable. And remember, this work never ends. The day you think you are finished is the day you become vulnerable again. Stay vigilant. Stay strong. Stay yours.